Paddlefish surveys on the lower Alabama River by the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources are pretty routine. But during one particular outing, things suddenly became exciting when fisheries biologists discovered what they had netted was not exactly a paddlefish.
It was a special moment because that's the first live one I've ever seen. Same with Travis. I've been sampling for him for 5 years. And so we were pretty excited. I immediately called Stan Cook, our chief, said, "Stan, I got an Alabama sturgeon." And he came back on the radio and he said, "Are you joking?" I said, "No, Stan, I got an Alabama sturgeon." He said, "Seriously?" I said, "Stan, I've got an Alabama sturgeon right now." And since we were on the river, I took my camera phone. I had Travis take a picture of it real quick because I wanted him to get it and he could send it to Bernie to confirm what we had.
I got an email at 9 o'clock Tuesday morning that the fish had been captured, and Steve Ryder was holding the fish there very proudly, and I could tell it was an Alabama sturgeon then. Then later that night, he sent me some real high-quality photos, and I could definitely tell there was an Alabama sturgeon based on the color, the lack of spines on the snout, and just its general appearance, its large eye. And then to see it today was really a treat.
This is the rarest large species fish in North America and is the first one anyone has seen in 8 years. It is also the second largest caught on record, with the largest Alabama sturgeon having been caught back in 1953.
With this sturgeon species, like many of the sturgeon species, it's difficult, if not impossible, to determine the sex of the animal from just an external inspection. And you certainly cannot determine the reproductive condition of the animal. So the procedure that we performed this morning was a pretty standard procedure for sturgeon species, where we made the incision so that we could visually inspect the reproductive tissues of the animal.
Right there, see? Mm-hmm. That white color? Male?
High testis.
I think it's a male. I agree. And it's not reproductive state. Tag it? Tag it.
The sonic tag that we implanted is a device that emits a sonic ping, ultrasonic ping. You can't hear it without special equipment, but it's like a sonar signal. And we have receivers directional receivers that can pick up that signal wherever the fish is in the water. And the ping is unique for that tag. It's got a coded, a little signal code that it emits. And then you can zero in on where the fish is in the river. And this allows you to track that fish over time to see where the fish moves.
We have a lot of concern about this particular fish. And we really feel that, we need to put all the effort we can and on all our field stations and personnel to continue working on protecting this fish.
After implanting the tracking device, the Alabama sturgeon is kept in the fish hatchery for recovery and close observation until its release several days later.
Yep. Pinging good.
The Alabama sturgeon is now ready to be released. It's transferred to a boat that will carry it to within just a few feet of where it was caught. In addition to an ultrasonic transponder, the fish has also been tagged with a passive integrated transponder, or PIT tag. This tag allows a department to permanently mark the sturgeon without altering the external appearance of the fish.
Yeah. $414 D223 743. What do you think? You ready? We're going to be tracking this fish almost on a daily basis. We want to know exactly where he is. We're going to be taking water quality when we find him. We're going to be taking habitat measurements. Basically, what does the bottom look like where he is? Is it sand? Is it mud? Is it a mussel bed? We want to know as much as possible about this. This is really the first time anybody's ever been able to track Alabama sturgeon. It hasn't been done before.
It's one of the rarest fishes in North America. One hasn't been collected or confirmed in about 8 years, and there's only been about 8 or 9 in the last 15 to 20 years that have been collected. So it's an extremely sensitive and rare species that we're trying to preserve. We really know nothing about it, where it winters, where where it summers, where it spawns, where it eats, what type of water temperatures it prefers at different times of the year, all kinds of information that'll help us preserve the species and be able to minimize any impacts that may occur to it on the landscape. We assist the Department of Conservation with funding for tracking, for setting up a laboratory for propagation and culture program, as well as the monitoring program once the fish is released.
The department continues to track and monitor the fish with the optimistic assurance that this Alabama sturgeon will lead to more of its kind and eventually their preservation.